Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome back to another explainer. Today we're literally cracking open the files on America's ultimate unsolved skyjacking, the absolutely legendary case of D.B. Cooper. We are going to build what I like to call our detective's sandbox. So before we even think about looking at the faces of modern suspects, we're going to look strictly at the hard physical evidence. We're going to see exactly how 21st century science is completely rewriting a 1970s mystery.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, the ultimate unsolved skyjacking. Second, microscopic clues and flight paths. Third, the copycat, Richard McCoy. Fourth, the code, Robert Rackstraw. Fifth, the insider, Sheridan Peterson. And finally, number 6, the enduring mystery. Once our forensic profile is rock solid, we'll match these wildly different, fascinating suspects against that exact evidence.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, the ultimate unsolved skyjacking.
To truly appreciate the massive new discoveries in this case, we kind of have to start at the beginning, right? We need to establish the undisputed facts of a mystery that has captivated citizen sleuths for over 50 years. You've probably seen these iconic FBI sketches before. This dark-suited, sunglass-wearing man boarded Northwest Orient Flight 305 on November 24, 1971. He bought his ticket under the name Dan Cooper. Actually, the media later misreported it as D.B. Cooper, which is what stuck. And he just seamlessly blended in with the lonely businessmen of the era.
So here's how it all went down. After boarding the plane in Portland, Oregon, which was destined for Seattle, Cooper casually handed a stewardess a note. It said he had a bomb. He even showed her the device to prove it, and then laid out his demands, $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes. After the authorities surrendered the money and the chutes in Seattle, Cooper let the passengers go and ordered the crew to fly to Mexico City. But mid-flight, somewhere over the dark, literally freezing Pacific Northwest wilderness, Cooper lowered the plane's aft stairs, strapped on a parachute, and just leaped right into the night. It was such an audacious mid-air escape, and to this day, his fate remains entirely unknown. No one knows for sure what happened.
Moving on to Section 2, microscopic clues and flight paths.
Okay, so we're pivoting from a 1970s legend to what state-of-the-art technology tells us today. A group formed by a former FBI case agent known as the Citizen Sleuths has been applying modern science to the tiny physical artifacts Cooper left behind. And the discoveries they've made are absolutely astonishing. You see, Cooper left a cheap clip-on tie on a seat right before he jumped. Using fully automated electron microscopes, researchers found a treasure trove of over 100,000 microscopic particles embedded in the fabric. We're talking rare earth metals like strontium and barium, elements specifically used in 1971-era cathode ray tube screens. Even more distinctly, they found particles of pure titanium and bismuth. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, in 1971, pure titanium was highly restricted. It was primarily used in military aircraft and Boeing's Supersonic Transport or SST project. So our skyjacker was very likely exposed to a highly specialized aerospace manufacturing environment.
And this brilliantly illustrates how physical evidence solves geographical debates. For years, people argued about where the plane actually flew. Some backed the Washougal washdown theory, which placed the plane further east. But a stairway placard that blew off the plane when Cooper lowered the aft stairs was recovered by a hunting family near Toutle, Washington. When you calculate the wind and freefall time, that placard perfectly aligns with the FBI's original Victor 23 airway flight path. The plane stayed exactly where the FBI radar said it did.
But if the plane was definitely on the Victor 23 airway, we run into a massive paradox. In 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram was digging on a beach called Tena Bar on the Columbia River, and he unearthed $6,000 of Cooper's ransom money. It was just 3 rotting bundles of $20 bills. So if the plane didn't fly over Tena Bar, how did the money get there? And more importantly, and this is the real kicker, how did November ransom money get covered in spring algae?
Let's look at this. Using those exact same electron microscopes, researchers analyzed the recovered $20 bills and discovered diatoms, which are microscopic aquatic creatures. Specifically, they found Asteriana and Fragillaria. So the crucial point here is this. These specific species are spring-blooming algae. They absolutely do not bloom in November when Cooper jumped. That completely shatters the assumed timeline. It implies the money wasn't exposed to the river water during the November hijacking, but rather during a spring season, perhaps months or even years later. It's a real game changer.
Section 3. The copycat, Richard McCoy.
So we have our forensic profile now. Aerospace titanium, the Victor 23 flight path, and spring-blooming diatoms. Let's test our first major suspect against this evidence. Meet Richard McCoy II. McCoy's life was incredibly cinematic. A Vietnam demolitions expert and helicopter pilot, he actually committed a wildly similar copycat skyjacking just months later, in April 1972, demanding $500,000 and parachuting away. He was caught, famously escaped a federal penitentiary by literally crashing a garbage truck through the main gate, and ultimately died in a 1974 shootout with the FBI. Recently, McCoy's children surrendered a parachute found on their family farm to the FBI, and that actually prompted a massive raid involving 8 cars of federal agents searching for more clues.
This recent FBI raid sparked an intense debate in the Cooper research community. On one side, controversial aviation YouTuber Dan Grider really champions the McCoy theory, claiming the barn parachute perfectly matches Cooper's. On the other side, researcher Ryan Burns points to archival FBI documents showing that witnesses explicitly stated McCoy's physical features differed significantly from Cooper's. Burns also argues that Grider's parachute is an Air Force model, while Cooper specifically requested and received a Navy chute. It leaves us asking the question, did Grider just get into the FBI's heads, or is that parachute the real deal? Next up, Section 4, the Code, Robert Rackstraw.
While the debate rages over parachutes, we pivot to a suspect where the focus shifts entirely to encrypted military communications. This is Robert Rackstraw. He was an Army paratrooper and ex-convict with a highly elite military background. According to researchers, Rackstraw is the only man known to have served in 3 specific top-secret military units. Just before the hijacking, a man matching Rackstraw's description appeared in Astoria, Oregon, using this bizarre alias, Norman de Winter. He was claiming to be a Swiss baron before just suddenly vanishing.
Now let's see how this builds into something truly wild. An investigative team filed a Freedom of Information Act request, and they actually uncovered an unpublished 1972 letter sent to the Oregonian, allegedly from the skyjacker. Team member Rick Sherwood, who is an Army Security Agency veteran, applied a copyright military code-breaking process to the repetitive phrases in that letter. When he decrypted it, the phrase, "through good ol' Unc," translated directly to "by skyjacking a jet plane," and "please tell the lackey cops," translated directly to "I am First Lieutenant Robert Rackstraw." According to the team, it reads exactly like a hidden confession. Crazy, right?
Section 5, the Insider, Sheridan Peterson. So we have a copycat and a decoded confession. But remember our detective sandbox? Remember those rare earth metals we talked about earlier? Enter Sheridan Peterson. Peterson was a former smoke jumper and an expert skydiver. Even more compelling, he was a technical editor for Boeing with access to the supersonic transport project and the exact building where pure titanium was being used for high-temperature testing. His alibi for November 1971 was that he was living in Nepal. But he miraculously opened a confidential numbered bank account in Singapore that exact same year. Oh, and DB Cooper's tie clip? It was manufactured by a company called Anson as part of a set. Well, Peterson owned the matching Anson cufflinks.
And I really want you to look at this staggering number, 1,500. Out of a field of approximately 1,500 suspects looked at by investigators over the years, Sheridan Peterson is one of only 3 men known to have had their DNA directly compared against the partial DNA profile extracted from Cooper's clip-on tie, and among those 3, he is the only one who has never been publicly cleared by the FBI. Let that sink in.
Finally, Section 6, the Enduring Mystery. Think about everything we've covered. A copycat with a hidden parachute, a special ops soldier writing coded confessions, a Boeing insider covered in pure titanium with a secret bank account. The collision of 1971 evidence and modern science leaves us in an incredibly complex web. Yet, despite all of this, the spring diatoms, the titanium particles, the coded letters, the FBI officially closed the DB Cooper case in 2016. The files have been stamped closed and archived. The Bureau stated they absolutely will not accept new evidence unless it's the stolen money or the missing parachutes. This leaves the heavy lifting entirely to the civilian researchers and citizen sleuths, who just continue to analyze the microscopic breadcrumbs left behind.
And that leaves us right here. Is the true identity of DB Cooper already sitting in a cardboard box deep in an FBI vault, just waiting to be connected? Or are the final answers still out there, buried deep in the muddy banks of the Columbia River? It's a question that demands we keep looking at the evidence. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep analyzing, and I'll see you next time as we dive into another fascinating mystery.